PC gaming is expensive. But what if I told you that this could be your next gaming rig? We're talking about a $50 gaming PC. Let's go. First, I looked around and I eventually found something locally for $50 that I hope will satisfy all of our needs. This is the Lenovo ThinkSetter M715Q Tiny. It's a mini PC that released in 2018, so it's about 6 years old at this point. These things come in a huge array of configurations, but the one I got has 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM and a 256 gig M.2 SSD, which isn't a lot of storage space, but it's more than enough to get us started. These mini PCs also come standard with built-in Wi-Fi, tons of USB ports, and even have 3 ports in case you want to run a triple monitor setup. Pretty cool. In terms of expansion, there is a spot to put in a 2.5-inch SATA storage drive, and the RAM could always be expanded to 16 gigs. Now, the part of the computer that is going to be the most responsible for how well games run on it is going to be the CPU and whatever integrated graphics is built into it. My unit came equipped with an AMD Ryzen 3 Pro 2200GE. It's a modest entry-level CPU from 2018 that has built-in Radeon Vega 8. Run different benchmarks and games to see the performance. But before we go into it, please remember, this computer costs only $50, okay? Okay. So I mostly wanted to showcase games that you could comfortably play on this machine, which is going to be mostly lighter titles. League of Legends has been a classic for nearly 15 years for a good reason. It's super fun and can be really played on almost any machine. And even on this $50 PC, at 1080p resolution and medium settings, I was able to play a bot game with an average of about 70 FPS. Valorant, another esports title that can play on any potato, and it did fare much better than Fortnite did. At 720p in low settings, I was able to average around 80 FPS, and the one Counter-Strike 2 did a little better. Still had to bring the resolution down just to get a playable frame rate, and while this is playable, it's not really super competitive, but hey, it runs, and that's more than I expected from any of these games. It's easy to see these results and say, oh, I'd rather just not play any video games. But that is probably coming from someone who has a gaming PC already. Me, as a teenager and a broke adult who couldn't afford anything, I would have killed to have any way to play any games, even if it means at third. But on a lighter note, Rocket League was actually playable. It's not the highest frame rate, but averaging 60 FPS. I can see myself playing this and having no issues. Things are looking up. Grand Theft Auto 5 is pretty old now, so I was actually able to get through the benchmark pretty seamlessly. Nothing crazy, but 65 FPS with some reasonable 1% lows is totally playable to me. But yet, yes. Playing my favorite games poorly is still better than not playing anything, but hey, maybe that's just me. If it were me, and I only had $50 to spend on the PC, and I needed it now for work or school, meaning I can't just save up money for a year, as some privileged commenters like to suggest, I think buying a PC like this would be just fine for the time being. I would buy this PC and use it as my stopgap for a year while I save up for something better.